15 black actors who came out then and now in 2026. For decades, Hollywood quietly pushed many LGBTQ black celebrities into silence, forcing some of them to hide relationships, identities, and personal truths just to protect their careers. Behind the fame, red carpets, hit movies, and platinum records were painful stories of fear, rejection, secrecy, and emotional survival. From Queen Latifah and Coleman Domingo to Billy Porter and Lil Nas X, these stars helped break barriers that earlier generations were often too afraid to challenge publicly. Some lost opportunities for being honest. Others changed entertainment history simply by refusing to hide anymore. But even today, many fans believe Hollywood still treats openly LGBTQ black celebrities differently behind closed doors. Do you think the industry has truly evolved, or are many stars still forced to live secret lives? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and join Remembered Lives channel for more powerful celebrity stories. Coleman Domingo. Coleman Domingo spent years fighting for visibility in an entertainment industry that rarely gave openly gay black actors the opportunity to lead major projects. Long before award nominations and red carpets, Domingo quietly built his reputation through theater, independent films, and supporting television roles, while refusing to hide his identity to satisfy Hollywood expectations. His journey became proof that authenticity could survive inside an industry historically built on silence and image control. Born in Philadelphia in 1969, Domingo originally planned to become a journalist before discovering acting during college. Theater became the foundation of his career, allowing him to develop a commanding presence and emotional depth that later made him one of the most respected performers of his generation. Yet, success came slowly. For years, openly LGBTQ black actors were often denied complex leading roles because studios feared audiences would reject them. Everything changed when Domingo began receiving wider recognition through projects like Fear the Walking Dead, Euphoria, and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. His performances carried a quiet intensity that audiences immediately connected with. In 2023, his portrayal of civil rights strategist Bayard Rustin in Rustin earned enormous praise because the role reflected both historical importance and personal truth. Rustin himself had spent much of his life marginalized because he was a gay black man. Off-screen, Domingo's personal life remained grounded and sincere. He married his longtime partner Raul Domingo in 2014 after the couple first connected online years earlier. Unlike many celebrity relationships built around publicity, their story became admired for its warmth and authenticity. What makes Coleman Domingo's story so powerful is not simply his success, but the way he achieved it without sacrificing honesty or dignity. In a business that once pressured queer actors to disappear behind carefully constructed images, Domingo became living proof that truth itself can become a strength rather than a weakness. Billy Porter. Billy Porter spent decades refusing to become smaller for an industry uncomfortable with difference. Before becoming an Emmy-winning actor and global fashion icon, Porter faced years of rejection simply because Hollywood considered him too gay, too feminine, and too unconventional for mainstream success. Yet, instead of hiding his identity, he transformed it into the very thing that eventually made him unforgettable. Born in Pittsburgh in 1969, Porter grew up in a strict religious household while struggling with bullying, emotional isolation, and confusion surrounding his identity. Music and theater became his emotional escape, eventually leading him to study at Carnegie Mellon University. Even with extraordinary talent, however, breaking into entertainment proved difficult because executives often wanted black male performers to appear traditionally masculine and emotionally restrained. Throughout the 1990s and early 2000s, Porter built a respectable Broadway career but remained largely overlooked by Hollywood. Everything changed when he starred as Pray Tell in the groundbreaking television series Pose, a drama centered around Black and Latino LGBTQ ballroom culture during the AIDS crisis. Porter's emotional performance deeply moved audiences and critics alike. In 2019, he made history by becoming the first openly gay black man to win the Emmy Award for lead actor in a drama series. Beyond acting, Porter became internationally recognized for fearless fashion choices that challenged rigid ideas about masculinity. Every red carpet appearance became a statement about freedom, identity, and self-expression. In 2021, Porter publicly revealed he had been living with HIV since 2007. For years, fear and stigma kept him silent about the diagnosis. His honesty later inspired many people struggling with shame and secrecy surrounding illness and sexuality. What makes Billy Porter's story so emotional is that every achievement came after years of being told he did not belong. Instead of changing himself to fit Hollywood's expectations, Porter forced Hollywood to finally expand its definition of what a leading star could look like. Queen Latifah. Queen Latifah built one of the most respected careers in entertainment history while refusing to let Hollywood control her identity image or personal life. Born Dana Owens in New Jersey in 1970, she first rose to fame during the late 1980s as one of hip-hop's earliest female superstars. At a time when rap music was heavily dominated by men, Latifah stood out through confidence, intelligence, and powerful songs like Ladies First and Auntie, which challenged sexism and violence against women. But while her music career exploded, public curiosity about her private life quietly followed her for decades. Unlike many celebrities pressured into constant public confession, Queen Latifah chose privacy over explanation. Rumors about her sexuality circulated throughout much of her career, especially as she became one of Hollywood's most recognizable black actresses through projects like Living Single, Chicago, Set It Off, and The Equalizer. Yet she consistently refused allowing tabloids or interviews to define her identity for her. That silence was not weakness, it was control. For years, openly LGBTQ black entertainers faced enormous pressure inside both Hollywood and the music industry, where executives feared public backlash could damage careers. Latifah understood those realities deeply. Instead of responding to gossip, she focused on building an empire across music, film, television, and business. In 2021, during her emotional BET Lifetime Achievement Awards speech, Latifah publicly thanked Ebony, widely understood to mean her longtime partner, Ebony Nichols, before adding, "Happy Pride." For many fans, the moment felt deeply personal, because it reflected quiet acceptance rather than spectacle. What makes Queen Latifah's story so powerful is the dignity with which she handled decades of public speculation. Rather than letting Hollywood force her into labels or explanations, she succeeded on her own terms, while becoming one of the most influential black women in entertainment history. Lil Nas X. Lil Nas X completely transformed modern pop culture by doing something previous generations of black male entertainers were often terrified to attempt: becoming openly gay at the height of mainstream success. Born Montero Hill in Georgia in 1999, he first exploded onto the music scene in 2019 with Old Town Road, a song that became a worldwide phenomenon and shattered chart records by spending 19 weeks at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. At first, many people viewed Lil Nas X as a novelty artist, destined to disappear quickly. But behind the humor memes and viral marketing was an artist fully aware of how dangerous honesty could still be for a young black man inside hip-hop culture. Just months after Old Town Road dominated the world, Lil Nas X publicly came out as gay during Pride Month in 2019. The announcement shocked sections of the rap industry because hip-hop had long struggled with homophobia and rigid ideas about masculinity. Yet, instead of retreating under criticism, Lil Nas X became even more fearless. Through music videos, performances, and social media, he openly challenged cultural expectations surrounding sexuality, religion, and identity. Songs like Montero, Call Me By Your Name, became cultural lightning rods, praised by supporters as liberating and condemned by critics as provocative. But controversy only expanded his influence. Beneath the humor and confidence, Lil Nas X often admitted he once feared his career would collapse if people knew the truth about him. What makes Lil Nas X's story so important is not only his success, but the timing of it. Previous generations of black artists often hid their sexuality to survive the entertainment industry, Lil Nas X entered the spotlight openly refusing shame from the beginning. In doing so, he helped redefine what masculinity, fame, and freedom could look like for a new generation. Jussie Smollett. Jussie Smollett once appeared to represent a major breakthrough in Hollywood. A successful, openly gay black actor starring on one of television's biggest dramas. Born in California in 1982, Smollett began acting as a child before eventually gaining worldwide recognition through his role as Jamal Lyon on the hit television series Empire. As Jamal, he portrayed a talented gay musician struggling for acceptance inside a powerful black family, a storyline that resonated deeply with many viewers who rarely saw queer black men represented so openly on mainstream television. In 2015, Smollett publicly confirmed he was gay during an interview with Ellen DeGeneres, explaining that he had never hidden who he was. At the time, many fans viewed him as a courageous figure, helping break long-standing barriers in entertainment. His performances, activism, and advocacy for LGBTQ youth quickly made him an influential public voice. But everything changed in January 2019. Smollett reported to police that he had been attacked in Chicago by men shouting racist and homophobic slurs. The story immediately shocked the nation and generated enormous sympathy. However, investigators later accused Smollett of staging the incident himself, leading to one of Hollywood's most controversial scandals in recent years. The fallout was devastating. Smollett faced criminal charges, intense media criticism, and major damage to his career. In 2022, he was convicted for filing a false police report, though legal battles and appeals later continued. Regardless of the court developments, the controversy dramatically changed public perception of him. What makes Jussie Smollett's story so tragic is how quickly a symbol of representation and progress became consumed by scandal and division. Whether people view him with sympathy, anger, or disappointment, his rise and fall forced difficult conversations about fame activism, truth, and accountability inside modern celebrity culture. RuPaul transformed drag culture from an underground performance art into a worldwide entertainment phenomenon, while becoming one of the most influential LGBTQ figures in television history. Born RuPaul Andre Charles in California in 1960, he spent years struggling through poverty, rejection, and obscurity before eventually building a career unlike anything Hollywood had ever seen. During the 1980s and early 1990s, mainstream entertainment rarely embraced openly queer black performers, especially those expressing femininity publicly. Yet RuPaul refused to hide. Towering, glamorous, and fearless, he entered the spotlight during an era when visibility itself carried enormous risk for LGBTQ entertainers. His breakthrough hit, Supermodel, You Better Work, turned him into a pop culture sensation and introduced drag artistry to audiences who had never seen anything like it before. But RuPaul's greatest impact came later, through RuPaul's Drag Race, the reality competition series that became a global phenomenon. The show not only launched careers, but also created visibility for LGBTQ performers across generations and cultures. Through humor, mentorship, and emotional honesty, RuPaul helped normalize conversations about identity, self-expression, trauma, and acceptance for millions of viewers worldwide. Behind the confidence and glamorous persona was a performer who survived decades of discrimination and cultural resistance. RuPaul often spoke about growing up feeling different and learning to embrace individuality in a society eager to punish it. What makes RuPaul's story so remarkable is that he succeeded without softening who he was to make others comfortable. In an entertainment industry once terrified of queer visibility, RuPaul became impossible to ignore. More than just a television star, he helped change how mainstream culture viewed gender expression, LGBTQ identity, and the meaning of authenticity itself. Jeremy Pope. Jeremy Pope entered Hollywood at a time when openly gay black actors were still often treated as risks rather than leading stars. But instead of hiding parts of himself to fit traditional industry expectations, Pope built his career through honesty, vulnerability, and undeniable talent. Born in Florida in 1992 and raised in a deeply religious environment, he discovered early that balancing faith identity and artistic ambition would not be easy. Before mainstream fame arrived, Pope spent years performing in theater productions, where his emotional intensity and extraordinary voice quickly drew attention. His breakthrough came on Broadway in Choir Boy and Ain't Too Proud, performances so powerful that in 2019, he became only the sixth actor in history to receive 2 Tony Award nominations in the same year for different roles. For many people in the industry, it marked the arrival of a major new talent. Yet Pope's success carried deeper meaning beyond awards. As an openly gay Black performer, he represented a generation refusing to separate authenticity from ambition. His role in Ryan Murphy's Hollywood explored the struggles queer Black artists historically faced inside the entertainment industry, a reality Pope himself understood deeply. In 2022, Pope received widespread acclaim for The Inspection, portraying a young gay Black man surviving the emotional brutality of Marine boot camp after rejection from his mother. The role resonated strongly because it reflected themes of masculinity, pain, and acceptance, often ignored in mainstream cinema. What makes Jeremy Pope's story so inspiring is the emotional honesty he brings both on screen and off. Instead of hiding vulnerability, he transformed it into strength, helping redefine what modern Black masculinity and queer representation can look like in Hollywood today. Wanda Sykes. Wanda Sykes built her career by saying the things many people were too afraid to say out loud. Sharp, fearless, and brutally honest, she became one of America's most respected comedians through a style that blended intelligence, political commentary, and deeply personal storytelling. But behind the laughter was a woman who spent years quietly struggling with identity pressure and the fear of public judgment, before finally deciding to live openly on her own terms. Born in Virginia in 1964, Wanda originally worked for the National Security Agency before pursuing comedy full-time. Her wit and confidence quickly helped her stand out in an industry heavily dominated by men. Throughout the 1990s and early 2000s, she became famous through projects like The Chris Rock Show, Curb Your Enthusiasm, and numerous stand-up specials that showcased her fearless comedic voice. For years, however, Wanda kept her sexuality private while navigating Hollywood and public expectations. In 2008, after California voters passed Proposition 8 banning same-sex marriage, Wanda publicly came out as lesbian during a rally in Las Vegas. The moment became deeply significant because few Black female entertainers at her level of fame had spoken so openly about being gay. Later that same year, she married her wife, Alex Sykes, and the couple eventually welcomed twins. Wanda continued using comedy, not only to entertain, but also to challenge racism, sexism, and homophobia with remarkable honesty. What makes Wanda Sykes' story so powerful is the courage behind her humor. She transformed personal truth into comedy that made people laugh, while also forcing audiences to confront uncomfortable realities about identity, equality, and acceptance in modern America. Kanan Lonsdale. Kanan Lonsdale belongs to a generation of performers determined to live openly, without apologizing for who they are. Born in Sydney, Australia in 1991, to a Nigerian father and an Australian mother, Lonsdale first gained international attention through television roles in The Flash and Legends of Tomorrow, where his charisma and emotional energy quickly made him a fan favorite. But while superhero fame introduced him to mainstream audiences, his greatest impact came through his honesty off-screen. In 2017, Lonsdale publicly shared that he was attracted to both men and women, explaining that he no longer wanted to hide parts of himself to make others comfortable. At a time when many actors still feared being openly queer could damage careers, especially within action franchises, his openness resonated deeply with younger audiences searching for representation. Soon afterward, Lonsdale starred in Love, Simon, one of Hollywood's first major studio films centered on a gay teenage romance. For many fans, seeing a young queer actor publicly embracing his identity while appearing in mainstream romantic stories felt groundbreaking. Beyond acting, Lonsdale also used music and fashion to challenge traditional expectations surrounding masculinity and gender expression. His songs frequently explored freedom, identity, vulnerability, and self-love, while his fashion choices rejected rigid ideas about how men were expected to present themselves publicly. What makes Keenan Lonsdale's story so inspiring is the fearlessness behind his openness. Rather than separating his career from his identity, he allowed both to exist together, naturally, helping younger LGBTQ audiences feel seen during a time when authentic representation still remains rare in many parts of entertainment. Lee Daniels. Lee Daniels spent decades telling stories Hollywood often avoided exposing: pain, trauma, race, sexuality, and survival, with a level of emotional intensity that made audiences uncomfortable and deeply moved at the same time. Born in Philadelphia in 1959, Daniels grew up in a strict household while struggling with abuse, fear, and the difficulty of understanding his identity as a young, gay black man during a far less accepting era in America. Before becoming a major filmmaker, Daniels worked difficult jobs and faced enormous personal hardship while trying to survive in the entertainment world. Unlike directors who softened their work to fit mainstream expectations, Daniels built his reputation by telling raw stories centered around marginalized people, often ignored by Hollywood. His breakthrough came with films like Precious the Butler, and later, the massive television success Empire. Through these projects, Daniels explored family conflict, addiction, racism, violence, sexuality, and emotional trauma with unusual honesty. As an openly gay black filmmaker, he understood firsthand how many stories were hidden or erased by the entertainment industry. Daniels often spoke openly about the challenges he faced navigating Hollywood while refusing to conceal his sexuality. Earlier generations of black entertainers frequently hid their identities out of fear careers would collapse. Daniels chose a different path, using both his voice and his productions to create opportunities for LGBTQ performers and stories rarely centered in mainstream media. What makes Lee Daniels' story so important is not only his success, but the doors he opened for others. He helped prove that stories involving queer black characters' emotional vulnerability and social pain could achieve both critical acclaim and commercial success without sacrificing honesty. Daryl Stevens. Daryl Stevens became one of the most important faces in black LGBTQ television history, through a career built not on scandal or shock value, but on authenticity, vulnerability, and quiet courage. At a time when Hollywood rarely allowed openly gay black men to exist as fully developed leading characters, Stevens helped change the conversation through his groundbreaking role as Noah Nicholson in Noah's Ark, the first American television series centered around gay black men. Born in California in 1974, Stevens spent years navigating an entertainment industry where opportunities for openly gay black actors remained extremely limited. Many performers were pressured to hide their sexuality out of fear audiences or executives would reject them. Stevens chose a different path. Rather than separating his personal truth from his professional life, he leaned into honesty, even when it complicated his career. When Noah's Ark premiered in 2005, the show became revolutionary for many viewers who had never before seen black queer relationships portrayed with emotional depth, humor, romance, and humanity. Stevens' performance gave audiences something television had long denied them: representation that felt genuine rather than stereotypical. Noah was flawed, sensitive, ambitious, insecure, loving, and fully human. Yet visibility came with consequences. Stevens later admitted that being openly gay sometimes limited the roles offered to him. Hollywood often struggled placing openly queer black actors into mainstream projects outside specifically LGBTQ-centered stories. Instead of becoming bitter, Stevens expanded creatively through writing, producing, and mentoring younger artists. What makes Daryl Stevens' story so meaningful is that his influence extends beyond fame itself. He helped normalize black queer storytelling during a period when many networks still viewed those stories as too risky or controversial. Quietly and consistently, Stevens became part of a cultural shift that allowed future LGBTQ performers to exist more openly within mainstream entertainment. Titus Burgess. Titus Burgess built his career through pure talent, refusing to let Hollywood reduce him to stereotypes, despite years of industry resistance. Born in Georgia in 1979 and raised in a deeply religious environment, Burgess discovered music and performance early in life, eventually developing the extraordinary vocal power and stage presence that would later make him one of the most recognizable entertainers in modern television comedy. Before mainstream fame arrived, Burgess spent years performing in theater productions and Broadway musicals, where his voice and charisma immediately stood out. Yet, like many openly gay Black performers, he faced an industry uncertain how to market someone who did not fit traditional ideas of masculinity or leading man image. Rather than hiding parts of himself to become more acceptable, Burgess embraced individuality fully. His breakthrough came through the wildly popular Netflix series Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, where he portrayed Titus Andromedon, a struggling actor and singer whose dramatic personality and emotional honesty quickly made him a fan favorite. While the role was comedic, Burgess brought warmth, humanity, and vulnerability that prevented the character from becoming a simple caricature. Off-screen, Burgess remained equally authentic. Openly gay and unapologetically expressive, he often spoke about self-worth, rejection, and the importance of embracing identity without shame. He also used his musical background to expand beyond comedy, proving his talent extended far beyond one television role. What makes Titus Burgess's story inspiring is that he succeeded without trying to make himself smaller for mainstream comfort. In an industry that historically rewarded conformity, Burgess transformed flamboyance, humor, and emotional openness into strengths that audiences around the world connected with deeply. Jeffrey Boyer Chapman. Jeffrey Boyer Chapman turned years of rejection, racism, and isolation into a career built around visibility and resilience. Born in Alberta, Canada in 1984, Jeffrey grew up as a biracial gay child in an environment where feeling different often meant feeling alone. Long before Hollywood recognized him, he faced bullying, identity struggles, and the painful experience of rarely seeing people like himself represented positively in media. Determined to escape those limitations, Jeffrey eventually moved into modeling and acting, slowly building a career, despite an entertainment industry that still offered few opportunities for openly gay Black performers. His breakthrough came through roles in television series like Unreal, where his performances revealed both emotional complexity and confidence. Unlike many celebrities who avoided discussing identity publicly, Jeffrey openly embraced being gay, while also speaking honestly about racism and discrimination inside the entertainment industry. His visibility became especially significant because Black queer representation in mainstream television remained limited for many years. In 2020, Jeffrey gained even wider recognition after joining Canada's Drag Race as a judge. The role positioned him as one of the most visible LGBTQ Black personalities in television at the time. However, the attention also exposed him to waves of racist and homophobic abuse online. Instead of retreating quietly, Jeffrey later spoke publicly about the emotional toll of social media harassment and the pressure placed on marginalized performers living visibly in the spotlight. What makes Jeffrey Boyer Chapman's story powerful is the honesty behind it. Rather than pretending success erased pain, he openly acknowledged how difficult visibility can become for queer people of color in entertainment. His journey reflects not just ambition and fame, but survival inside an industry still struggling to fully embrace difference. Niecy Nash. Niecy Nash spent years making audiences laugh through comedy television hosting and unforgettable supporting roles before surprising Hollywood with one of the most honest and unexpected love stories of her life. Born Carol Denise Betts in California in 1970, Nash built a successful career through charisma, humor, and emotional warmth that made her one of television's most beloved personalities. From Reno 911 to Claws and When They See Us, she proved repeatedly that she could balance comedy and drama with remarkable skill. But behind the fame was a woman still discovering parts of herself later in life. For many years, Nash's public image reflected a traditional Hollywood path. She married twice, raised children, and became known as a charismatic actress and television host. Because of that history, many fans were shocked in 2020 when Nash announced her marriage to singer Jessica Betts. The news immediately generated headlines because few people expected the actress to publicly enter a same-sex relationship after decades in mainstream entertainment. Yet for Nash, the relationship was not about publicity or reinvention. She later explained that she had simply fallen in love with a person rather than focusing on labels. Her honesty resonated deeply with many people, especially older audiences, who understood how complicated identity and self-discovery can become over time. Unlike celebrities who turned personal revelation into controversy, Nash handled the moment with calm, confidence, and emotional maturity. She continued thriving professionally while openly celebrating her marriage and happiness without apology. What makes Niecy Nash's story so meaningful is that it challenged the idea that people must fully understand themselves early in life. Her journey became a reminder that love, identity, and happiness can evolve unexpectedly, even after years spent living under public expectations and assumptions. Jonathan Bailey. Jonathan Bailey became an international star through charm, emotional depth, and undeniable screen presence. But behind the success was a journey shaped by fear, secrecy, and the pressure many LGBTQ actors still face inside the entertainment industry. Born in England in 1988, Bailey began acting as a child and spent years building a respected theater and television career before worldwide fame finally arrived through Netflix's Bridgerton. As Anthony Bridgerton, Bailey became one of television's biggest romantic leading men almost overnight. Audiences admired his confidence, chemistry, and emotional vulnerability, turning him into a global celebrity. Yet long before that success, Bailey privately struggled with an industry culture that subtly warned openly gay actors they might never become believable romantic leads. In interviews, Bailey later admitted he once received advice suggesting he should hide his sexuality if he wanted major acting opportunities. That pressure reflected a long-standing Hollywood fear that audiences would reject openly gay actors in traditionally masculine or romantic roles. Instead of living dishonestly forever, Bailey eventually chose openness over fear. As his fame grew, he spoke more publicly about identity anxiety and the emotional cost of pretending to be someone else for professional acceptance. Unlike earlier generations of LGBTQ performers forced into silence, Bailey became part of a newer movement of actors refusing to separate personal truth from career success. Beyond Bridgerton, Bailey earned praise through theater work and performances showing emotional range far beyond romantic drama. Fans connected not only with his talent, but also with the sincerity and humility he carried despite enormous fame. What makes Jonathan Bailey's story inspiring is the way he quietly challenged old Hollywood assumptions. By becoming a globally desired leading man while openly gay, he helped prove authenticity, and mainstream success no longer need to exist separately in modern entertainment. For decades, many LGBTQ Black celebrities were forced to hide parts of themselves just to survive Hollywood, music, television, and public judgment. Some stayed silent out of fear. Others risked everything to finally live openly and honestly in front of the world. From Queen Latifah and Billy Porter to Coleman Domingo and Lil Nas X, these stars didn't just entertain audiences. They challenged stereotypes, broke barriers, and helped change the conversation about identity, masculinity, love, and acceptance in modern entertainment. But even today, many fans still debate whether Hollywood truly accepts LGBTQ Black performers equally behind the scenes. Do you think the entertainment industry has finally changed? Or are many celebrities still hiding who they really are? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join Remembered Lives channel for more emotional celebrity stories.